ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa will today deliver the closing address at the party's NEC meeting. The discussions have been centered on the state of the organization and its readiness for its December conference. However, it has also been seized by two pressing issues. That's the Phala Phala Integrity Commission's report and the ANC's plan to implement the state capture report's recommendations. We take a look now at how the ANC will possibly respond to the state capture report. We're joined by Newzroom Afrika's Govan, Whittles in studio for more. Morning. How are you? Let's get straight into it. So what do we expect from the party where the State Capture Commission's report is concerned?
Well, we expect them to, again, walk a tightrope in balancing the expectation of the public versus putting out a plan that will have the party comprehensively respond to the recommendations while at the same time not fracturing it even more. We've seen in the lead-up to this NEC conference that the factions have become more pronounced, the divisions have become sharper. And in an earlier interview about a month ago with Newzroom Afrika, Dr. Zamani Saul, chairperson of the Northern Cape ANC, saying that the state capture report will really be one of the central discussions going towards the December conference. That is turning out to be the case. At this NEC meeting, Jeff Radebe is due to present a report by a team that he's led on how the party will respond to its recommendations. We already know that they're planning to change how their deployment committee operates. That's because of the findings by the Chief Justice, Raymond Zondo, who raised serious concerns about whether the deployment committee itself was not facilitating the capture of the state. Remember that testimony to that commission revealed that substantial number of minutes from the deployment committee were missing, while at the other time the basis upon which people were recommended for key positions, particularly in state-owned enterprises, was questioned not only by evidence leaders but by the Chief Justice himself. So there is an expectation that they change how the deployment committee operates. But it has to go a step further, and exactly what they will do to criminalize corruption and try to put measures in place within the party to stop ANC members from using access to those positions to facilitate corruption is the great expectation. We've spoken to Mac Maharaj. He's an ANC veteran. He's a former spokesperson to President Jacob Zuma, but towards the end of former President Jacob Zuma's term, he became very critical of how he's conducted himself. And Mac Maharaj exclusively telling us here that he believes there's a fight back, but he has another idea for how the party and the country at large can respond to the state capture report and place pressure on political parties to make a comprehensive response available to the public. Let's take a look at that.
There is a fight back going on from the people who are implicated in corruption. And if we lose focus on that, we lose everything. That's why I'm saying that the campaign against corruption must be national, and it must be addressing the issues on the basis of facts. Zondo has presented a report of the extent of corruption. Are we ready to tackle that? We need a law that makes corruption, abuse of power illegal. We need to overcome the problem of a gap in our law, where people, when they are going to go face disciplinary charges for corruption, resign, and therefore you can do nothing. Yes, government has done something important. Through the Special Investigating Unit, it has now become to recover the money from people who stolen. But merely getting back the money is not enough. Those who were engaged in corruption must face the might of the law. And we need a law to address that. And I'm saying, making the law, drafting it, is not just a job of those who are in Parliament. Civil society can draft it. We have all the law faculties in the universities. We can rope them in and without any compensation, draft that bill and take it to Parliament. And say to each of the political parties, leaders, do you support this? If you support it, make it a bill and make it enacted as law. Those who don't, isolate themselves and say they're paying lip service to fighting corruption.
Words of wisdom by Mac Maharaj. Govan Whittles is still in studio with us as we close up the conversation following the ANC's NEC meeting this weekend. Govan, what to expect from President Cyril Ramaphosa as he closes that conference? Reports would suggest that he has successfully jumped a hurdle with this NEC meeting.
Yeah, he does seem to have avoided any strong calls for him to step aside over the Phala Phala investigation. But what's really important here is that at least the SACP, believing that the president doesn't have the moral capacity to lead a renewal campaign. His campaign leading into 2017 was on an anti-corruption ticket. Going into 2022, his campaign is based off of the re-establishment or reinvigoration of the criminal justice institutions. We look at the SIU, the NPA, the Investigative Directorate, even SARS, which has upped its collection. So he's going off the back of a few significant victories that have been won. But the question really is whether he will take the public into confidence further than he has already on the Phala Phala matter, and what he will say about the kind of people that are contesting for leadership, or at the very least the kind of plan that the ANC has for the state capture report. That would set the bar quite high if there were strong statements on how the state capture report's findings should affect the ANC going forward. Mac Maharaj also making another point to Newzroom Afrika in that interview that he believes the Elections Commission should be able to disqualify people from contesting for leadership during that vetting process after the nominations have been confirmed for leadership. And that, of course, is being run by former President Kgalema Motlanthe, also having strong views on the ANC and its ability to elect a leadership with integrity. There are a number of people that have been implicated in the state capture report, others facing investigation, the president himself under investigation. And exactly how the party responds to these clouds hanging over senior leaders will determine whether or not the SACP was right in saying that they don't believe he has the moral leadership required to lead that renewal campaign.
A lot of moving parts to it. You can look forward to more reporting from Govan Whittles. He's making his way to Nasrec, and he'll definitely be bringing you all you need to know. So do stay with Newzroom Afrika for all your news needs.